Okay, welcome back to the second part of the video. Well, we are done with 6 questions, so we'll continue from question number 7, right? So again, you need to find and write the output of the following code. Just a reminder, these questions are very much exam oriented, so you need to pay even closer and more serious attention. So let's look at the main part of the program. You have R as 150, S as 100, and then you have the function call, right? So make sure that you make this habit to mark and update the values of the variables, right? So you have R as 150 and S as 100. So R as 150 will be assigned to P, right? And then Q has a default value of 30, but that will be replaced by the value of S, which is 100, right? So you have 100 as a value of Q and 150 as a value of P. Be very careful, right? So P plus Q is 150 plus 100 is 250. So the value of P now becomes 250. Now let's look at the next statement. P minus Q, right? P minus Q, the value of P is 250. 250 minus 100, right? 250, because look at the value of P, it's been just updated to 250, right? So 250 minus 100 is 150, right? So you have print statement P hash and then Q, right? So the first output will be 250 hash and then followed by 150. So this will be the first output. And then return P. The value of P is how much? It is 250. So this will be returned and it will replace the function call, and the value of R will now be 250, right? So since P is returned, the value of P is 250. 250 will replace the function call, and then 250 will be assigned to R. Okay, so the value of R will now change to 250. And then you have print R hash and then S. The value of R is 250 hash and then the value of S. May I know the value of S? The value of S is 100, right? Even if it's sent up, even if it's been changed, but the change will not be reflected in the main part of the program, right? So the value of S will still be 100, right? So you have 100 here, okay? And then you have another function called, right? Change and then S. The value of S is how much? It's 100, right? So you have 100 here. So this 100 will be received by P. So you have the value of P as 100. Okay. Now since you are not setting the second argument, the value of Q will be 30, right? It will be 30, right? So now let's check out this. P plus Q. P is how much? 100. Q is 30. So 1 plus 30 is 130. And then P is 130. Is it? 130 minus 30. Q is 30, right? So 130 minus 30 is 100. So you have 100 here. And then print P hash Q. P is how much? It is 130. Is it? And then you have hash sign. And then the value of Q, which is 100, right? So return P. The P value of 130 will be returned. It will be assigned to S. But since no printing statements after this, so no outputs will be further printed. So this will be the final output, right? So let's check whether we get the right output or not. So we'll just run this and check. Okay, there you go. You have 250 hash 150, 250 hash 150, 250 hash 100, and 130 hash 100, right? So you need to be very, very careful, okay? Because if you mess up with one single step, you won't get the whole output correct. Okay, so you need to be extra vigilant of such question. So you just need to know how the parameters receive the value from the arguments, and then be careful while obtaining a certain value, right? Now let's move on to the next question. Just drop this. Okay, let's check what do we have. Question number 8, right? So this looks pretty simple. Okay, let's do this real quick. You have a function call, but you're not sending any parameters. You're not sending any values, rather. So even if you do not send any values, it should not be a cause of concern, because in the function header you have two parameters already with the default values, right? So even if you do not send any values, the default values will assume the values of n1 and 2 respectively. So m1 plus m2, 1 plus 2 is how much? It is 3. Okay, so this is same as m2 is equal to m2 plus 1. This is a shorthand expression for addition and assignment operator, right? So the value of m2 is how much? It's 2, right? So 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 becomes the new value of m2. So when you print it, we will get the answer as 3 and 3. Okay, so this time you are setting 2 and 1. So 2 will replace the value of n1, 1 will replace the value of n2, right? So this time you will have 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, and then the value of n2 is how much? It's not 2, it's 1, right? So 1 plus 1 is 2. So when you print it, okay, 3 and 2 will be printed. It's very easy, right? And then finally you are setting 3. 3 will become the new value of n1, while n2 will still have the default value of 2, right? So n1 is how much? 3. n2 is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay? And then n2 being 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. You will have the value of n2 as 3. So you will get the answer as 5 and 3. Okay? So the question is very, very simple, right? So let's check whether the answers are correct. So you have 3, 3, 3, 2, and then you have 5, 3. Very simple. Okay, let's go and try question number 9. Okay, question number 9 says, so again, okay, let's read the question. What are the errors in the following codes? Correct the code and predict the output. So you have lots and lots of error here, and then your task is to fix the error. Okay, when you do it live on the computer, it's much easier because you can actually get to see the mistakes that you have committed. But theoretically, when you write the exam, you need to be very careful. You need to highlight the error and then rewrite the entire code. You need to, for example, you cannot have semicolon here. You need to mark this. Okay, you need to mark all the errors and then rewrite the corrected version of the code, right? But I'll do it live here. Okay, so you cannot have a semicolon, right? So the semicolon is such a common way to end the statement in the earlier languages like C++ and Java, and then many other languages, right? But all of a sudden, in Python, they got rid of the semicolon statement to signal the end of the statement. So we don't have this, okay? So this is the first error. And then total is a variable which is declared globally, okay? It did not be always declared down there. Normally we write the main part of the program down there, okay? But it's alright if you declare the variable globally before the function definition also, okay? So this is as good as writing total equals 0 up here, or if you write as a part of the main program, it means the same thing. So now you cannot have indentation, right? So the second error is you cannot have the indentation, right? So get the cursor back, get the the indentation back to the extreme left, and then this is the function keyword. Everything looks good, and then getting a little further, again you cannot have the semicolon, right? And then print total total, this looks good. And then return total, it cannot be the main part of the program, right? It has to be the part of the function definition. Since it's returning something, the value has to be returned from the function definition, right? So you have to put the indentation. You have to get rid of the indentation up there, and then right here you need to insert, or you need to have the indentation, right? And then what do we have here? Just go up. Okay, so this looks like a valid function call, and then you have the print statement, right? So if you just run the program, now the second question is, if you run the program, what will be the correct output? Okay, so 10 goes up, 20 will be assigned to argument 2. Argument 1 and 2 will have the respective values of 10 and 20. Total is equal to 10 plus 20. Okay, so the answer will be, total will be 30. And then return total. Okay, the value of total will be returned, but when the total value is returned to the function call, I'm not using it. So you need to be mindful of this. Okay, return total, the value of total 30 is being returned to the function call. Okay, but am I using it in the expression? The answer is no. Am I using it with the print statement? The answer is no. So nothing happens with the returned value. Be careful of this. It does call the function, but even though a value is being returned from the function definition, you're not doing anything with the returned value. Okay, so nothing will happen. But however, when you print total is equal to total, the value of total, will be 0. Okay, it cannot ever be the 30 because there is no link between the return total with the function call, right? So the final output will be, you have a function call, right? It goes up, okay? 30 will be printed, and then total 30, total it will be 0. Okay, so I hope you got this. So the only weird thing about this is the function is returning a total value, but I'm not using it. And then when you actually try to print it, it will not print the total value of 30, rather it will print the original, the global variable's value of 0, right? So let's run the program and check. Okay, so there you go, total 30, and then you have total equal to 0, right? So be careful of this. Let's now check the next one. And then one important thing to be noted is, at times, if you have something like this, I don't think we have come across this situation, but I guess it's important if I highlight this. Let's say, if I have something like this, right? If I have something like this, now what will be the output? Okay, so when I call the function sum, the total is calculated and the total value is returned. We know that nothing has happened with the returned value. But the question is, this print statement will not be executed. Please take note of this. When the function is when a value is returned from the function, that's it. That is the end of the function execution. The function could be ended in 2 ways. Either the last statement of the function is executed, or if the return statement is executed. If the return statement is executed, that's the end of the function execution, regardless of how many statements you have after the return statement. Okay? Otherwise, if you do not have return statement, the last statement of the function definition signals or indicates the end of the function definition. So if I have something like this, you will just get the output of total is equal to 0. Okay, we'll just check. There you go. It goes up, it calculates the returns, which means that's the end of the function execution, right? And then when you come back and print the value of total, it will point to the global total variables with the value of 0. Okay, so these small little things look simple, but in exam they could matter a lot. Okay, something similar. again, you need to fix the error, right? So in the exam, like I said, you need to mark with a red pen, okay, possibly, and then rewrite the corrected version, right? So this time, what we have is, okay, you have the function call. So again, this is invalid function call, right? So in a function call, you cannot have the square bracket. Square bracket is meant to highlight the individual element of the list, remember? But here, we are making a function call. So while making a function call, you need to have the round braces. Okay, that's one important thing to be noted. So start from the main part of the program, all right? So I'll just get rid of this. All right. I call upon the function of top 3 goes to number. Now let's try to fix the remaining. Oh, you don't have a column here, right? So I put this column here. Sum is equal to 0, looks all right. 4C in range, 1 comma number plus 1. This looks good, but you cannot have this big R. Okay, so change it to small r. All right, and then sum plus equal to C. This looks good. Return sum. You cannot have return keyword spelled like this, so it has to be return. All right, return sum. So syntactically, the program now appears to be free of error, but I guess this return sum should not be a body of 4, okay? Because normally, in order to calculate the sum, once all the loops are executed, and then finally we return the sum. But what's happening here is, with each cycle, with each loop, a value is being returned. So it's not a syntactical error, it's not an error on the grammatical front. Grammatically or syntactically, according to the grammatical rules, the program looks good, okay, but logically, the program seems to have some problem. But let's run and check, okay. So you get the output of 1 and 1. The reason is, we'll try to figure out, the program is meant to display the sum, okay. You can run the program, but the output appears to be a mistake, right? So we'll see. 3 is being sent up, 3 will be assigned to number, sum is equal to 0, 4C in range 1 comma, number 3 plus 1 is 4, okay? So this loop, or this for statement should be cycling how many times? 3 times, right? So sum is equal to sum plus C. The value of C is how much? 1. 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. And then you have return statement. 1 will be returned and then 1 will be printed. Okay, so before it continues with the remaining values of C, you have the return statement being executed, right? So once the return statement is executed, that is the end of function definition. Right? So likewise, you have total top 6 will be sent up, okay? So 1 comma 6 plus 1 7, but the problem here is the value of C starts with 1 plus 0 is 1, again 1 is being returned, right? So the rest of the loops are not executed. So how do you fix this error is, perhaps you can get this back, right? So this is not syntactical error, rather it is a logical error. Because the question says you need to find the sum of numbers till 3 or till 6. So this is these are the ways that you should fix it, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 2 plus 3 till 6. The answer should be 21, right? So you need to highlight all the part of the programs with the marker, and then rewrite just the way I have written the program. Okay, so this is how you fix the error. Now let's go to question number 10. Okay, what do we have? Question number 10. Question number 10 is again all about predicting the output of the following code. Okay, so be very careful, right? So you have 2 global variables, 10 and 5 respectively, assigned to A and Y. Alright, and then again, this is one textbook example, but there seem to be an error in the question itself. Okay, I'll try to fix it. So initially y is equal to y, that will be 5, a is equal to a, so the first output will be y equal to 5, and then a is equal to 10. Okay, now you have the function called myFun. It goes up, and then a is being assigned to y, right? And then 2 is being assigned to a. Now the problem here is, whenever you are assigning a value to a variable, the new variables are created. This is the unique thing about the Python programming language. The moment you assign a value to a variable, you're creating a new variable, right? So it looks like from the outset, y and a are new variables which are created inside the local namespace of the function of myFun. Okay? And then a seems to be pointing to the global variable of a. So when you look at it, it looks like, okay, y and a are being created locally. The value of a is 10 because it has to point to the global variable, okay, and then you need to continue with the execution. But when I run this, in the textbook they've said like, you know, this is the correct question, and then you are supposed to come up with the answer, right? But the problem is when I run this, I get an error like this. Okay, we'll try to understand the error. Local variable a referenced before the assignment. Okay, local variable a referenced before assignment. Generally, first you should assign a value to a variable and then you should refer or you should reference. Okay, it doesn't make sense if you print the value of a without assigning. First you should assign a value to a variable and then you should refer to it or you should make a reference. Understood? So we'll try to understand the error message. Let's go up and check. Okay, so what's happening here is when the function is called, the Python interpreter does some sort of scan. Okay, it just checks the entire code, just to figure out whether there is any syntactical error or whether there is any other kind of error. It just before execution, it just runs a scan or a check. It kinds of check the entire code. Once the code appears all right according to the rules like syntactical error, semantic, the rules of the Python programming language, then the execution starts. Okay, so what happens is when the function of myFun is called, the Python interpreter runs a check or a scan. Okay, it goes and looks at the first statement and then it looks at the second statement. When it looks at the second statement, a new local variable will be created with a value of 2. Okay, it just looks at the first one, it seems good, it doesn't really get much deeper, it just checks the first statement. The first statement appears alright, and the second statement, what it does is it creates a variable, local variable called a. Okay, and then it just continues with the remaining statement. And at the time of execution, what happens is Python now realizes that the variable a is used before created. Do you get me? When it runs a check, it sees the first statement, okay, casually, and then it goes to the next one. A variable a needs to be created. Python interpreter knows that a is a local variable which has to be created. Okay, it just remembers and then continues with the rest of the statements. Now, during the actual execution, it realizes that the value of variable a is being referenced. It's being referred to before the creation. Okay, So that is not possible, right? It needs to be created first. It needs to be created and then assigned with a certain value, and then it needs to be referred to, right? So this is the reason why the Python interpreter reports an error, right? So it first checks, and then during the scan or during the check, it realizes that A should be a local variable. But the problem is during the actual execution, it is referred first, and then it is being created later. Okay, so the Python immediately reports the error, right? So we need to fix this, right? So in order to fix this, what we'll do is we'll make a little tweak to the question. All right, let's say we have a global. I've made some changes to the very question of the textbook, right? Otherwise, if I just retain the original question as per the textbook, no matter how many times I run, I end up with the same error message, right? So in a way, it does two important things, right? First one is we managed to understand why the error, and the second one is if we just add global A, and then let's check what will be the output, right? So this will be the first statement, first output. Y is equal to 5 and A is equal to 10. And then let's call the function global A means you're referring to this A. Okay. Now when I write global A, which means you're making a reference to global variable A. The value of A is 10. 10 will be assigned to Y. 2 will be assigned to A. Okay. Now when you print the value of Y, what happens? The value of Y is how much? Y is 2. Okay. Is it 2? Sorry, it's 10, right? Okay, since A is 10, A is assigned to Y. When you print Y, it will be 10. And then when you print, okay, A is equal to 2. So now this time, the original value of A as 10 will now be replaced by 2. Okay, so when you print the value of A, it will now be 2. Okay, I hope you got this. So any changes thereafter will be applied to the global variable of A. And then you have A plus Y is equal to A plus Y. So this will be printed. A plus Y is equal to 12. Okay? And then return A plus Y, return the value of 12. So 12, the returned value will be printed. So you will have 12 here. Okay? And then finally, when you check the value of Y, what happens? The value of Y will still be 5. Okay, because this Y is a local variable, or it's a new variable inside the my function. So any changes inside the function of my fun will not be reflected back to the original value of Y. Okay, I hope you got this right. So the value of Y will still be 5. However, the value of A will be 2 because I've made a change inside the function definition of my fun, but thanks to this particular keyword of global, the 2 will replace the original value of A of 10. So you should get the output as listed here. So we'll just run and check. Okay. Okay, there you go. Just get this little up. Okay, that's better. Y is 5, A is 10. 10 and 2, 10 and 2. A plus Y is 12. You have 12, and then you have 5 and 2. Okay? So I hope you have understood the question number 10. Be careful, right? So the textbook question needs to be changed a little bit. Okay, but you can stick to this particular question. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay, the next question is question number 11, right? Okay, when the given code is executed, what gets printed and what is the variable output equal to after the code is executed, right? So it should be pretty simple. multiply 5 and 5 will be the values assigned to number 1 and number 2 respectively. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so print 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Okay, and then return answer. 25 will be returned. 25 will be returned, and then it will be assigned to output. And then print the output, it will be 25. It's simple, right? So the answer should be 5 times 5 is 25, and then followed by 25, right? So this is not a real question, okay? Just to make sure that you get a clear difference between the question number 1 and question number 2. Okay, so you get this. This is pretty simple, right? And then let's check out the next one. I'll just change this to the question. Mark down and then just run this. Okay. Look at the question number 2. Again, we're setting 5 and 5, right? 5 and 5, and then 5 will be multiplied twice. You will have the answer as 25. Return answer. Okay, return the answer. So this will not be printed. You know this, right? So, so what will be the answer? Okay, it's a weird question, right? Do I have any statement down there? I don't have any statement, right? So when you run this, the answer will be returned, but you know the returned answer will be assigned to output. So what is the value of output? The value of output will be 25 as per the question. As per the question, you know, stick to the question properly. Okay, the question says, what is the variable output equal to? And then the first question is the given code, what gets printed? Okay, so in the first question, what happens is, what gets printed is, you know, 5 times 5 is 25, right? But the value of output is 25. Okay, the value of output is 25. But when you look at the next question, the value of output will again be 25. Is that right? So the value of output will be 25, but there will be no printing of the outputs. So the only difference lies in the outputs, you know, which are printed. Okay. Okay. Question number 12 is find the output of the following code. So this will be the final question, right? So again, the pattern of the question is pretty much the same, but there is a list here. Okay, so L is equal to 25, 8, 75, 12, and then I call the function, and then I send the list. You need to keep this thing in your mind. List is a mutable data type. So when you set a mutable type from the function call to the function definition, any changes up there will be reflected permanently back in the main part of the program. Okay, so you need to be mindful of this. So what happens here is I am sending the list. It will be received by n, and 4 is being received by n. Right, and then be careful. I am range of n. The value of n is how much? 4. Right. So this loop will execute starting from 0 till 4. Okay, so 0 till 4 means 4 times, right? So each time it will refer to the individual elements of the list, right? So the starting value of I will be 0. The value of n is how much? It is 4. Okay, so the final value of I will be 3. The value of I will start from 0, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so m of 0 is 25. 25 modulus 4, is that equal to 0? The answer is false. 25 is not divisible by 4. Okay, and then it comes to the next if. 25 modulus 3, again the statement evaluates to false. So this will not be executed, right? So there won't be any change to the first element of the list. It will remain as 25. And then, again, the loop restarts for the value of I is 1. M of 1 means 8, right? 8 modulus 4 is 0. Okay, 0 is equal to 0. The answer is true, right? So Now this time 8 is being divided by 5. Okay, 8 divided by 5. So this is a floor division operator, not float. Floor or integer division operator, right? So 8 divided by 5, it will be 1 point something something something, right? But it will just pick up the integral part, okay? 1 point, be it 4, 5, 6, it will always pick up the floor value, okay? Integer value, which is on the lower side. The upper the integer is 2, the lower integer is 1. So it will always pick up the lower value. So hence we call it as a floor division operator. So m of 1 is being updated with the value of 1. Okay, so which means this 8 will now be replaced by 1. Okay, just write here 1, and then you need to check this, right? Since this is not if and if, in if and if one of the condition is true, the rest of the conditions are ignored or skipped. Okay, but these two are different if statements. They have nothing to do with each other. So check this: 8 modulus 3. The remainder is 2, I guess. So this statement is not true. Hence, nothing happens. So the 8 will be changed to 1. Okay, and then you have 75. The next value of I is 2. M of 2 means 0, 1, 2. You're pointing to 75. 75 divided by 4 is not equal to 0. The remainder will not be equal to 0. And then it comes here. What happens here is 75 mod of 3. Okay, so when you have 3 into 25, you will get the exact answer as 75. So the remainder will be 0. So if it's 0, I need to divide, okay, 75 by 3. And the quotient becomes the new value of m of 2. Okay, so 75 divided by 3 is 25. So 25 will replace the value of m of 2. M of 2 means 0, 1, 2. So the 75 will be replaced by 25, right? And then finally, when the value of I will be 3. So m of 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3. So m of 3, 12, modulus 4, the remainder is 0. Okay? If the remainder is 0, what happens? 12 divided by 5 will be 2 point something. It will pick up the lower value, lower integer value, which means 2. Okay? So this will be changed to 2, right? But again, I need to check this. I need to check the next if. So 12 of modulus 3, 12 mod of 3 is equal to 0. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. So the condition is true again, right? So this time what happens is the value of m of I has been changed to 2. Okay, you got this, right? Be careful. And then it now checks the value of m of 3. M of 3 is not 12, it's 2 already. Okay, it's 2. So 2 modulus 3. 2 modulus 3, the remainder is 2 modulus 3. If you just check it, 2 and then modulus 3. Okay, so this condition is false. If you cannot be 1, it has to be 0, right? So 3 times 0 is 0, and then the remainder will be 2. Okay, so the condition is false. Okay, so you should get the output as now when you check, the new values, the new values will be something like this. 1. Okay, I in L, I will be 1 hash, 25 hash. Okay, sorry, 25 hash, 1 hash, 25 hash, and then 2 hash. Right? So let's check the output. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you get the correct answer as 25 1, 25 2. Okay, 25 hash, 1 hash, 25 hash, and then 2 hash, right? So the only thing that you need to be careful is when the value of I is 3, I repeat, when the value of I is 3, m of 3 points to 12, right? So 12 modulus 4 is equal to 0, the condition is true. So the 12 divided by 5, the quotient is 2 point something, so 2 becomes the new value of m of 3. So 12 will be replaced by 2. Be careful. So when you check this again, you're not supposed to check 12, but you're supposed to check the new value. Okay, so this is something which you may go wrong. Okay, and then if the condition was false as per the original question, but you never know, it could be true. If it's true, again you need to update the value of m of 3. Alright, so with this, we have come to the end of today's video lesson. I hope you have gained quite a lot of practice from the examination point of view. So these are the kind of questions with regard to predicting the output or fixing the error. And then there could be another kind of question, and that understandably has to be writing the program. Okay, so based on this particular chapter, again we have quite a number of programs, which could be asked to write in the exam, and I'll be covering that in the next week, right? So until then, take care and study hard.